Good evening, guys. This is Working, bringing you a quick update on EOS. Hope you guys are having a great Friday evening. We're looking at EOS to the dollar, bid for next 4-hour chart, and unfortunately, guys, we've had quite a bearish-looking correction so far. So far, doesn't mean it's going to continue that way, but so far it has. We had a very impulsive-looking 5 waves up. Remember, these are 5 subwaves of the larger wave 1, and now we're on a wave 2. Should be kind of an ABC correction, even though I'm not seeing much structure there. It just looks like it looks like an impulse wave down, and that's a bearish sign. You don't you want to see an impulse wave up. You don't want to see an impulse wave down. So an impulsive wave down. So let's dig in here and see what we can see. All right, we're looking at the hourly now, and I have no clear ABC correction. This looks more like an ABCDE to me. I mean, I can count this as A, B, C, D, and coming down now for the E wave. That's possible. If in fact that's what's happening, we're going to be looking at the 618 fib. We can see that price came down, hit the 236, came back down, meandered around, hit the 362 or the 382, kind of snaked around the 382 for a bit before finally breaking down, hit the 0.5, broke back up, came back down, and now we've just broken below the 0.5. So it has respected the fib levels so far on the way down, so that's a bullish sign that we are at least doing that. And now we're coming down to the 618, guys, and this is the golden ratio. We need to know whether or not it's going to break below. If it breaks below, you're going to get a lot of algos that are going to start targeting things a lot lower. If we get a nice bounce, now you're going to get algos picking targets up above, as we know. Now overall, we know that this is still a downtrend. We still haven't broken the downtrend of the larger market. Remember, if we zoom out, guys, this larger market here obviously is still downtrending. Algos are still picking targets to the downside. You can't blame them. I mean, look, this is a bearish looking market so far. However, we do have at least an impulsive wave up temporarily, and we're hoping that this turns out to be a trend change. So zooming back in here, excuse me, guys, let me get a quick drink of water. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, so zooming back in here, guys, as it comes back down to the 618, I am expecting some kind of a reaction here. We can see we have a little bit of, more than likely we've had a reaction here in the past, a couple different times in that zone. Regardless, even if it wasn't the 618, I would be looking for some kind of a reaction here. However, it is, so I'm expecting at least a little bit of a bounce. Now, if it just bounces slightly, comes back up and tests this, what was support would then be resistance between 820 and 795. Little bounce back up to test that support, or excuse me, that resistance, and then rejection right back down. If it looks like a very weak bounce or if it just kind of meanders on top of the 618, that's going to be very bearish more than likely. If it does break below, certainly if it breaks below the 0.65, which is between the 618 and the 0.65, that's called the golden pocket. If it breaks below the golden pocket, then more than likely we're going to be coming down to around 720, between 690 and 720. We do have a little bit of a demand zone down in there. We can see the 786 fib level is sitting right around 7.16. So guys, if it breaks down, more than likely we're going to come down to that zone, but we haven't broken that yet. So the all-important golden ratio as of right now is still intact, and we are going to be expecting a bounce. If we do get a very strong impulsive looking bounce, guys, from there, again, if it's very impulsive, we're going to be looking up. Obviously, we're going to have to break past this, the 820 to 795 resistance would now be acting as resistance. Above that, we've got to break above the all-important between 880 and 945. That's a very, very strong supply zone up in there. That was where it's topped out 3 separate times now, 1, 2, and 3. We've got to get through that, much like Bitcoin had to break through 6,800. We've got to get to the top side of 945 for EOS to have any legs, to have any room to run. If we do get above that, we have immediately a very, very strong supply resistance zone at between 1030 and 1090. Excuse me, that we're going to have to break through. So that's kind of in the long term, we're going to be looking for that. In the short term, we've got a lot of resistance to get through until we get above that. However, if we do get that nice bounce, what are we going to be targeting? What are algos going to be targeting longer term for that third wave? Well, for that third wave, they're more than likely going to be targeting, let's just right in here. Again, for a third wave, oftentimes, if it's very impulsive looking, it reaches up to the 1618. So more than likely, they're going to be targeting right around between 1220, 1225, somewhere thereabouts. That'll be the next target zone. So we're not there. Obviously, I'm getting way ahead of myself, guys. We are not there yet. We still, as of now, are waiting to see how it reacts when it gets to the 618. Now, I want to show you how hard the bears are still fighting for this market. The prior swing high, well, yeah, we can't count this. We double tapped up in here. So we come back to the next swing high. The next swing high was up in this zone here. We can see that price was kind of meandering back and forth, trying to decide which way it was going to break. It ended up breaking down. As soon as it broke down, Algos chose this as its swing high. So we go from that swing high to swing low. And what do we notice, guys? Let me pull up here. What do we notice on the retrace? Because algos are viewing this as a retrace. We can see that it retraced, and algos were targeting, they always target the 618. Algos were targeting the 618, and it hit the 618 perfectly. Wicked right inside the golden pocket there between the 618 and the 0.65, right inside there. And then not only did it hit that zone, it impulsively bounced right off of it. Now that, if you're a bear, you're loving that. If you're a bull, not so much. So, again, guys, if that's the new pivot, then bears are going to be targeting, well, let's figure it out. Bears are going to be targeting at least a 1-to-1, right? So if they're targeting at least a 1-to-1, they're coming down here and they're going to be targeting about $5. Doesn't mean that we're going to hit $5, but it does mean we got a lot of algos that are looking at $5 as of right now as a target. So this is an epic battle between the bulls and the bears, guys, for control of this market. And again, I think it's going to come down to, in the short term, whether or not we end up breaking below this 618. At least that's going to give us an idea of how things are going. Doesn't mean the game is over if we break it. Then we're going to be watching the 786. But it does mean it will be a big win for the bears if they break below the 618. If the bulls can defend the 618, that's going to be a very big win for the bulls. So, all right, zooming in here to let's go to the 4-hour. Looking at the 4-hour RSI, we're sitting right around 41. That's kind of gotten into bearish territory. Let's see if we can end up breaking above that in the near future. Looking at the 4-hour MACD, we can see the signal line and the MACD line both continuing to trend down, showing no signs of reversal. Looks like the histogram might be starting to bottom out. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Let me blow this up. Looking at the stock RSI is still, and this is on the 4-hour, is still oversold. Has been oversold for about since yesterday afternoon, guys. That's a bearish sign that it hasn't been able to break up since then. A very bearish sign, actually. All right, looking at the daily chart, we can see that the RSI, that's interesting. The RSI is sitting at about the same place on the daily as it was on the 4-hour, about 42, 43. MACD on the daily is trending up. Looks like the MACD line starting to curl over. Could signal a possible continuation or just sideways movement. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Looking at the stock RSI on the daily, we do have more room to drop. So that's not you'd like to you'd like to see you'd like to see it bottoming out, and we're not getting it there yet. So looking at the daily chart, guys, we've had 4 very bearish engulfing candles. We just had the candle close. It closed as, again, a very bearish engulfing candle, guys, and now we've got a new candle forming. We were hoping for a reversal candle. We didn't get that. So again, more than likely, this tells me that we're very, very likely going to come down and hit the 618. So very, very likely going to come down and touch about 760, 765, somewhere thereabouts at least, and then we're going to hope for a nice bounce up. So these are my quick thoughts on EOS, guys. Unfortunately, things could be looking better. They're just not. Let me pull out the Bollinger Bands here just real quick. Looking at the Bollinger Bands on the 4-hour, we can see prices getting it. So this does indicate that we may be starting to see bottom, although they are starting to move a little bit and give a little more leeway. Let's pull out to the daily. Looking at the daily, we still got plenty of room to drop on the daily. Also, plenty of room to rise, though, and that's not unexpected. We were in a downtrend, so that's certainly not unexpected. Looking at our let's pull out our MEAs, 21 and 55, and 8-day EMA. On the daily chart, we can see prices move below the 8-day EMA. That is a rather bearish sign, unfortunately. Let me close these Bollinger Bands here. Yeah, that is a rather bearish sign. Let's go to the 4-hour. Looking at the 4-hour, we can see the 8-day EMA. Get rid of that. The 8-day EMA there in blue just crossed below the 21-day EMA there in yellow. That's a bearish sign. We can see the below here, the pink is just the 55-day EMA price has gotten well below that now. And unfortunately, that's another bearish sign. If ideally we'd like to get this 8-day EMA to not cross below the 55, we can keep the 8-day EMA above the 55. That'd be at least a temporary win. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Well, let's wait and see how that ends up playing out, guys. So a lot of weakness in the market right now. Volume continues to remain relatively decent, although there are more sellers than buyers. We still have some interest in the market. That's a good sign. And we're just gonna have to wait and see how this ends up playing out, guys. I wish I could give you a little more definitive answers. All I can say is if price breaks below the golden pocket here of the 618 to the 65, it's gonna more than likely come down to the 7.2. Or 6.9, somewhere thereabouts. So 720 to 690, somewhere thereabouts. If it breaks below that, we're looking at $6. To the upside, if we do end up bouncing, get a nice impulsive bounce, then we're going to look at the 820 to 795 to breaking above that, and then we've got to get above to the all-important 880 to 945. If we can get above 945, guys, then I believe we're going to be start snowballing, and at that point, I think the bulls are going to start taking full control of the market. Until then, it's still going to be an epic battle all the way up in and through the 945 zone here if we can get that high. So let's watch for a bounce, guys. Let's wait. I made dollar cost average into a position with a very, very tight stop loss here, expecting a bounce at around 660, somewhere thereabouts. And again, I will have a very tight stop loss if I do that. If it ends up breaking below, say 750, I may play a quick short down to 720 or thereabouts. That's not financial advice, just kind of my quick thoughts based on things that I'm seeing right now. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If we do have some major price movement, I'll try to update you over the weekend. Until then, have a great time, guys. This is Working, signing out.